Hi there, this is Jennifer Collins, and today we are going to go over some questions for the Arkansas Real Estate Brokers exam. And we're going to start with number 13. A person has occupied a property for 7 years, and no one has ever attempted to evict her or occupy the parcel. In this case, the person might base a claim of legal ownership on C, constructive notice of possession. So that person was sitting on the property for 7 years and nobody bothered them. So they're going to claim legal ownership. Constructive notice of possession. Crazy. Okay, 14. A person wishes to convey any and all interest in a property to another with full assurances against encumbrances, liens, or any other title defects on the property. This party would most likely use which of the following types of deeds? B, general warranty deed. So a general warranty deed makes sure that everything's clear, that it is a free and clear title. 15. The chain of title to a property refers to which of the following? Well, I'm just going to tell you that the chain of title has to do with the chronology of the successive owners on record. So who owned it before that person, who owned it before that person, and that person, and that person. They used to do these big books of abstracts of title. But this is called, I mean, it's the same thing, but this is the chain of title. 16. A lease property is conveyed to a new owner. What happens to the lease? So it's leased, there's a tenant inside. What happens to that lease agreement between the new owner and the existing tenant? Well, that lease is going to remain in effect. So it remains in effect till it expires. Then they can raise the rent. Okay. 17. The Uniform Residential Landlord or Tenant Act fundamentally attempts to C, encourage fairness and simplicity in lease forms and provisions. So encourage fairness, and that is with the Uniform Residential Landlord and Tenant Act. So the Landlord and Tenant Act is to encourage fairness. Okay. 18. A primary objective of residential zoning is B, to promote the value and planned use of a neighborhood. So I don't know if you've tried to rezone anything, but it is a headache. You have to go through, proper authorities. You have to go through the zoning committees. You have to, sometimes you have to get a vote from all the people in the neighborhood. It's definitely not very easy for just a common person to have to do that, but once you're experienced in the game of real estate, getting things rezoned can be done, is done. But the primary objective of residential zoning is to promote the value and planned use of a neighborhood. Okay, number 19. A shop was originally built in a commercial zone. So that building is there. The zone has since been changed to a residential zone. Zoning authorities permit the use. So what is likely going on? What kind of use is it? D, a legal non-conforming use. So the building already exists on that spot. It was commercial. That area has been rezoned, but the existing people, they can still do what they were doing and not have to like change it into a house or anything because it's a legal non-conforming use. They were already there. It's kind of like protecting the tenant. Even though an owner has changed, the tenant's lease is still good with that owner. Okay, so that's good. At least they're protected. They're not being told to move or to rebuild. Okay, number 20. Authorities conduct comprehensive land use planning in order to, authorities conduct comprehensive land use planning in order to A, balance public interest with individual property rights. So if you've ever heard of these towns, of course, this is just the way it goes. Okay, so you start a city, you have the fire department, you have the police department, you have, um, the postal service, you have, all the basics that you need, utility companies, just like Monopoly, that are set into play. And then you're going to have, that town's going to grow. But you have to have comprehensive land use planning to balance the public interest with individual property rights. So, okay, so like my parents have some land on this road where their house is, and that lot size is a certain size when they bought it. But the road that they live on has become a thoroughfare between one place and another place, like a lot of traffic in between those. So the city has to not really encroach, but they have the right of easement, or that's called something, the right of something to be able to put a ditch there, put telephone lines there, to bring in fiber optic, whatever's they need for cable. But that's a comprehensive land use planning to balance public interests with individual property rights. Okay. The purpose of a formal legal description of a property is okay, we need legal descriptions like the northwest block of southwest quarter of subdivision Caldwell Estates. They have to have that formal description because it helps to locate and identify the property reliably. So it's really important that you make sure that your property description is current. Sometimes the lots are, they're still there, but they may not be the same measurement, and they may be given an address. That things can change as far as that description goes, or things have been added to it. So you have to definitely check your tax records and verify it with the title company. Okay. Number 22. A parcel is described as the southwest quarter of the north half of the east half of section 14. What is its acreage? Okay, so let's get out our calculator. And how many acres are in one block? I want to say it's 640. So let's divide that by a fourth. Divide that by 2. Divide that by another 2. 40. Okay, so the answer is 40. The easy way to go about that is to say, okay, a parcel is described as the southwest fourth quarter. It's a quarter. What they did was they took 640 and divided it by whatever that little 1/4 quarter, and then the 1/2 quarter. So they took 640, divided it by 4, and then divided it by 2, okay, to come up with 40. So a quarter is going to be 40. If you've got to look that up, look it up. But that's the southwest quarter. All right. 640 divided by the bottom numbers of the equation. Okay, number 23. A suburb has a growing need for single-family housing, but the land available for new construction is running low. In this case, it is likely that the price of existing homes, B, will increase. So basically, that's just the demand. The demand is going up. There's not as many homes to be had, so it's logical for the price to go up. Yep. Number 24. The demand for homes in a market is best expressed in terms of D, the number of households seeking housing. So back to the question a minute ago, Demand of homes in a market is best expressed in terms of, the other options were silly, like square feet of a housing, number of contracts signed with developers, number of houses listed in multiple listing service. No, the demand of homes in a market is the number of households seeking housing. So that's the demand. What is the significance of base employment in a real estate market? Base employment in a market. So, like, how much do people earn in that market? Is there anything, I mean, where do these people work in a certain market? Are there factories? Are there, what are the job opportunities? And so what's the significance of that? It drives total employment and population growth, which lead to demand for real estate. So if there's nothing there, are people going to want to go there? Like your general public, or are we going to need some visionaries to go in there and, start something? Okay. All right. Number 26. The concept known as substitution states that D, buyers will not pay more for a certain house than they would for another similar house. Okay. This is important when it comes to pricing house. So if you are about to price something and you're about to put something up for a listing and you are really unsure about your price, you're kind of on the fence about, like, is it worth this or is it worth that? Yada, yada, yada. Okay, so the concept known as substitution states buyers will not pay more for a certain house than they would rather for another house. So, what I would do is go into the MLS and search 3-bedroom, 2-bath, similar to the square feet, 1,500 square feet, and in a certain area. And if I can get this other house and it's nicer for the same amount of money than I would get this other house, I would really need to figure out what the best strategy is for pricing to get it sold. So that is the concept known as substitution. Okay, that's 12 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and stop for now. Hopefully I'll be able to do another one tonight, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.